No, I'm glad we got to do this. Thank you so much for doing it.
Yeah, fuck yeah.
I'm gonna move to the last chapter.
Yeah.
Or the last Dangerous
Never
Summer
Feel
chapter.
Alone.
Never Feel Alone.
Yeah.
Chapter 12, Never Feel Alone by the Dangerous Summer.
I drank the weekend to the ground and you're in my arms. I kept my feelings to myself and you weren't wearing much at all.
I drank the weekend to the ground, and you're in my arms. I kept my feelings to myself, and you weren't wearing much at all. Can you guess which part of that line is true?
What made you write that song? Where'd that song come from?
So yeah, girl, and yeah, it's about putting yourself out there regardless, and just being like, hey, I wanna do this, I wanna make it happen, and you gotta put yourself out there to be anything, or to be, successful, to be not alone, to be anything. It's like you gotta be willing to be vulnerable, and I think it was actually this girl that I started seeing. I just fell in love, and a lot of Reach for the Sun's about this girl. It was kind of like, what are we doing? Like, we're just hooking up, or like, I'm gonna tell you how I feel. I'm gonna tell you I love you, because like, you got to, or else, you're fucking yourself. Like, to not put those emotions out there. And I think you really put it the same way in this book, where you're like, you put yourself out there, and you were like, fuck it, I need to like at least try and give it a shot, and even if at the end, if it fails, like, at least you gave it a shot. At least you put yourself out there.
Yeah, and that's the thing too, is that like, I hope it's clear in the book, and correct me if I'm wrong, but I feel like this is where you're coming from too. But I hope it's clear in the book that like, the girls I write about here are not like, oh, I fucked this girl, I fucked this girl, I fucked this girl.
You genuinely care about them.
I was trying to find the missing piece.
Exactly.
In my life, like I had the job, I moved to New York, I got out of my small town, and the one missing piece was finding love.
Exactly.
And I hope that's clear in this book.
Yeah. And it is.
I think it is.
Yeah.
But I think that's where you're coming from too, just because of the similarities that we have and what you've written in your songs. It's a belief in this feeling that like drives us, of like passion and like love.
It's Sunday morning. I'm running out of time. I upped my Adderall dosage. I'm running out of time. I told myself that this weekend I would write, and I haven't done enough of it. I'm running out of time. I started writing when I was 18. It's over a decade later, and I've written enough album reviews and concert reviews to fill up a couple books, but I haven't written enough of anything to fill a book that anyone would want to read. I'm running out of time. I've upped my Adderall dosage, and I'm finally starting to get it. I never was much of a drug user or abuser, but then I was never much of a writer. I'm finally starting to get it. I've upped my Adderall dosage. Can you tell?
While it's about this relationship stuff and the mental health stuff, it's also very much about being creative. And I mean, throughout the whole book, I'm trying to write the book.
Exactly. And I love that too. I mean, that's like, I get it. Being in a room, locking yourself in there, trying to write, and like, you use the tools you're given. Adderall, I think it's a great tool. I use it. I've pretty much wrote every song I ever wrote on Adderall. Like,
well, and that's the thing too, and I always want to always clarify that I'm not glorifying it or glamorizing it.
Exactly. Yeah.
But there have been days.
You're just being real.
And there have been days where like I'll get up and I won't take my Adderall.
Yeah.
And I'll realize like, shit, I've been on the couch for 5 hours and I've just looked at my phone for 5 hours.
Yeah.
So like, it does help me. Like, I still have focus issues all the time, but it gets me going and it gets me like on track,
That's what I say, like, drugs are tools, and the moment they become abuse is when like you stop using them as tools, like.
Well, and when the consequences are contradictory to what you're trying to achieve.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. But and also, like, I think that's what's so great about the book is like the vulnerability and the rawness, and I always think that's what creates good art. That's what I look for in myself when I write something. And say, are you being honest with yourself? Are you being honest to the point where it hurts you or the people around you? You need to do that. You need to kind of put yourself in a place of great vulnerability and honesty, where it's like, this is how I feel. This is what's going on. And I think, especially when I started reading the book, and when I started reading about, like, your drug use and everything, I was like, all right, he's not fucking around. Like, he's really telling his honest story, and like he's trying to like really create a piece of art that's impactful. Just to be honest with yourself, where it's like your mom will read and be like, "What the fuck are you doing?" You know.
A pot of coffee is brewing so I can keep going. Okay, a pot of coffee is brewing now because I want to drink scotch and I'm too scared to drink it straight because I'm already shaking and my heart is speeding up. You'd think the 3 hours of sleep I got would have rejuvenated me, given me the energy to wake up well-rested and ready to attack the task at hand without requiring any extra boost. Yeah, I guess nobody would think that. What the fuck, Ambien? You let me down. Normally that shit knocks me out and I wake up feeling well-rested. It's the only sleep aid I've taken that has worked that way. For a short while, I took a drug called trazodone. That one was fun. I had the most vivid dreams on it. So vivid that I would wake up and write them down. I wrote pages and pages. Dreams of an ex-girlfriend I hadn't thought about in at least 7 years. Dreams about Britney Spears, who had already gone through her crazy phase but was not yet in her return to hot phase. And one night, I woke up from a dream right as a wolf pounced at me, only to go back to sleep and return to the world where I was being stalked by the same goddamn wolf. Pages and pages I wrote. Man, where's trazodone when you need it? Maybe I shouldn't blame Ambien. She's been good to me over the years. Tonight, and this whole weekend, she's had a tough opponent with all the Adderall in my veins.
I remember having a moment where I like posted a Facebook status where I was like, man, like it sucks that I have to sleep. Like I wish I didn't have to sleep. And someone commented, they're like, wow, like it sounds like you're happy. Like, you know, you want to be awake, you want to be working. Dude, I don't have enough waking hours in this world. Like
that's how I feel
too. It stresses me out. I'm like, fuck. Like.
But no, I've always said too, when people say like, well, if you could pick a superpower, my superpower would be not needing to sleep.
Yeah, not needing to sleep. Like that'd be fucking.
Not ever being tired.
The shit you can get done, it's like fuck. Dude, there's not enough time in a day.
Yeah.
You know, to do it all. You know, it's like.
Yeah,
sucks.
and the fact that you're still like playing sold out shows and playing in front of the crowds that you're playing in front of, you obviously still have so much to put out there, you know, that people are
and that's what's
to.
cool. And we took a long break as a band, and I got a really cool job, and I worked hard at it, and I did it. And then I found like this kind of perfect life in LA. I was living in Burbank. I biked to work every day, 2 miles. Like, I loved it. I was happy. I had my daughter at home and my wife and everything. And then I was just like, I hit the dream. Now I got to move on to the next one. I had to jump off the cliff again and be like, I'm going to go do music again. And it's just like the satisfaction. We shouldn't feel satisfaction, you know? It's like...
Yeah.
Yeah.
I totally understand, man. Because like when I was at Comedy Central, like I won an Emmy, like in my like a year and a half out of college.
That's fucking
like
awesome.
I won an Emmy.
Wow.
It's awesome, but it's also like.
Where do you go from there?
Where do you go from there? But also like I went on my first tour in playing in my band when I was 17. Like I turned 18 on the road.
Wow.
And like I booked that tour. I managed my band.
Damn.
We were out for 2.5 months.
Yeah, you're an ambitious
which is
dude.
ridiculous.
You just fucking do it.
But yeah, that was the thing is like I lived in this small town and I knew my band was good by listening to all the bands that were like professionally doing it.
Yeah.
It's like, we're this good, we can do it.
Exactly.
And we did it. But I remember being 18 years old thinking like, I was just on the road for 2.5 months with my band. I can do anything.
Yeah, exactly.
And that like was great, but it also ruined my life. Like, because now I think I can do anything. You know?
And as you should.
And as you should, like
exactly.
That's kind of what it takes. You got that's the first thing it takes is thinking you can do it.
When I woke up this morning, I didn't give myself time to realize that I probably didn't need any more Adderall. I just woke up, saw the bottle, and thought if I took some, I would immediately get to work. Well, I got to work. My heart is racing, and I'm looking around the room that hasn't had anyone but me in it all weekend, like I'm expecting to see someone else. My hands are shaking, and I keep looking at my phone that she hasn't texted in days, like I'm expecting that to change all of a sudden. And I finally get it.
A feeling's just a feeling till you let it get the best of who you are. Then sleep gets harder, and I need more of you.
A feeling's just a feeling till you let it get the best of who you are. Then sleep gets harder, and I need more of you. I get why so many writers or other creative people took to the poison. Or at least I think I do. I feel like I'm gonna die. I honestly feel like at any second, my fast-beating heart is just gonna burst. I feel like this could be my last day on Earth, and that makes me write. I think I'm running out of time, and I could very well be, so I write. Hot damn. Finally. Justification for the pills and the booze and the loneliness and the torture. Finally, some motivation.
A feeling's just a feeling till you let it get the best of who you are.
Yeah.
Maybe my favorite line ever written.
Thank you, man. I really
Dude,
appreciate
I love that. Like, that is such a fucking amazing line that embodies everything that I've has driven my life.
Thank you, man. I really
because I'm
appreciate that.
so like you said, and people fucking, push it off as with the term emo, but like, it just means you're in touch with fucking what you're feeling.
Exactly, yeah.
And I've always been very in touch with that. And,
Exactly.
But that's really what this whole book is about. It's like a feeling is just a feeling until you let it get the best of who you are, and it gets the best of me in this whole fucking book.
Exactly, yeah.
Like I almost die 3 times in this book because it got the best
of
of me.
your soul, yeah.
Yeah.
It eats at everything you are. And yeah, it's funny, like you bring that line up, like writing that song, I don't have any memory of writing that lyric or even thinking that lyric would be anything, because we were no band at the time, so it's crazy. That is a lyric that has resonated through the years with all the people, and there's lots of tattoos and everything, and it's like, wow, like I start to feel more meaning towards it, the way that people start to resonate with it. So I'm like, wow, like people like you make it bigger than what it originally was intended. I mean, it was just typing away or writing away, and well, that's what's amazing about doing what I do. It's like I write all this shit, and then people tell me what's good. They're like, this is amazing. I'm like, really? Like, thank you. Like, thank you for liking it. Every lyric I ever wrote, I'm just talking. Like, things end up meaning more, because I'm just being honest with myself and talking, and I don't even think about what I'm saying. What I'm saying is just everything I feel. It's like I don't even feel myself more as a lyricist. I just write, I'm a writer, and there's probably so many songs people don't relate at all to, and then there's some where it's like they really strike a chord.
In this chapter, I go to the girl's house and I leave, and I'm like walking around New York.
Yeah, and with the firefighters, you see the...
there was like a 9/11 plaque of like the firefighters that they lost in that year.
So it's a very profound chapter.
One of the things I love about New York is that you can walk anywhere and everything is interesting. There's so much history in this city. And I don't just mean the old stuff. One night, when I was leaving the girl's place, depressed, drunk, I decided to walk home. The Upper East Side might sound like at some point it's just right across the street from the Upper West Side, but really there's a giant forest in between called Central Park. I knew that, but I decided that rather than wait for a late night 6 train to take me to whichever train that would take me to a C train, or take a cab, I'd walk. A few blocks away from her apartment, before the dark forest that I will never cut through again, there's a firehouse. I can't remember if I was drunk on either whiskey or wine that night. It was always one or the other with us. And I always drank more because I wanted her to drink more, because when she drank more, she liked me more. But I was drunk on something. I'm sure some Sad Bastard music was playing in my ears, because Sad Bastard music was always playing in my ears. Maybe I didn't feel like I was going to die like I do tonight, but I felt like I wanted to die. 4 years at that point, I'd been hoping for this girl, and it wasn't happening. She knows me. She knows the great things about me. We have things in common, and she doesn't say the stupid things. She was the one who things were supposed to make sense with, and nothing was making sense.
So lay down on the couch and let me show you why I need you more than all the boys in your street.
So lay down on the couch and let me show you why I need you more than all the boys on your street. It was probably a Sunday night. She's a smart, beautiful, cool girl. She always had better things to do on Friday and Saturday nights. Like Lloyd Dobler, I didn't care. I wanted to be with her whenever she'd let me. It was after midnight, but I don't recall how far after. The streets were quiet. I've always found it insane that late at night, parts of Manhattan, the city that never sleeps, can be as quiet and empty as they are in post-apocalyptic movies. I had to pass the south end of Harlem to get to my place, which was more on the west edge of Harlem than Upper West Side. I didn't mind. I stayed in Harlem a few times in the past and never had any trouble. But this time, before I hit the park, I walked by this firehouse. And outside that firehouse, there was a poster with black and white photos of all the New York firefighters from the house who died on 9/11. It was fucking sad. But again, it was sad on kind of a selfish level. Some of these men meant something to wives and children, I thought. Those who didn't, they still mean something to millions of strangers who live in our country. I didn't even mean something to a fucking girl that I held onto for 4 years. I could keep walking to the next bar that might be half filled with more people I don't mean shit to. On that day, Those men ran up a burning fucking building to serve the purpose that they felt like was theirs. Maybe some of them felt like they were going to die. Maybe some of them knew they were going to die. Maybe some of them did it because they wanted to die as heroes. I feel like I'm going to die today, right now, any minute. And that is the only thing that makes me do what I believe is my purpose. And what have I written about? Drinking, doing drugs, being depressed, stupid girls. I want to die a hero. Don't we all? I mean, we at least want someone to miss us when we die. Don't we all want our lives and deaths to affect somebody? I've known this girl for 4 years, and she let me walk through Harlem at 2 a.m., drunk. I could die today. I'm not anyone's hero. I need some fucking Xanax.
So here's the thing with my head, I'm unstable. I'm feeling honesty come out. When really I'm just gone.
So here's the thing with my head. I'm unstable. I'm feeling honesty come out when really I'm just gone. I'm not crazy. Okay, maybe I am crazy. But feeling the way I do about the girl, thinking the things I think about her, is not crazy. I'm not delusional. Some might call me crazy to think there was an immediate connection the night we met, but that's how I believe these things happen. Even today, after all the shit, I still want to believe that that's how these things happen. She and I have since talked about that night, and I found out that I was not wrong.
You know?
Exactly. Yeah. And we're all searching for love and deeper feelings, deeper meanings, and it's not surface level. At least not for people like us. It's impossible for it to be. I've tried to have one night stands, but it turns into more, and I'm just like, I'll start calling you, I'll start texting you, like, I'm the emotional one, I'm the empath, I'm the one who believes in those deeper emotions, where sometimes people don't. And I think that's where you find a lot of emptiness in some of these girls, because you're looking for more, and they're just like, no, like, we're just out in New York, we're having a good time, and this is all it was. And you're like, but wait, like, that's not how it fits into my narrative. Like, you don't think like that. I don't think like that either, where it's like, it's not just a fun night out. It's like, hey, like, what do you want to do tomorrow? Like, you want to hang
Exactly, yeah,
you know,
no,
like,
totally.
Yeah.
Sure, I say it a million times in here. I say it on the back of the book that, like, I'm a hopeless romantic.
Yeah.
And so, like, every time I approached those relationships, it was always as, like, with the hope of it being something bigger.
Yeah.
I met the girl in Chicago. The night I'm remembering may not be the first time that I met her, but it was the first time I actually spent time with her. I visited Chicago 3 or 4 times that year because the girl who I was on and off with for 4 years had been going to grad school there. On this particular visit, the last of them, I was no longer with that girl, but we had decided to stay friends. It must have been around December because on this particular visit, she and her classmates were celebrating their graduation from one of the most prestigious journalism graduate programs in the country. I was there to help celebrate, and that meant I'd be going out around Chicago with her and her program's small graduating class, which was comprised mostly of females. The girl was one of those females. I remember we started off at someone's apartment on, is it Lakeshore Drive? Anyway, it was a nice apartment right by the lake with 6 to 10 girls and I think one guy who was married. And I was the fairly attractive guy who just flew in from LA. I had met most of them in passing in my previous visits, so they all knew me as their classmate's boyfriend. On this particular visit, if it hadn't been made known beforehand that I was no longer her boyfriend, it was probably made obvious pretty quickly that night. We hit some bars, and then we ended up at karaoke, and we've established what that means to me. I don't remember how many songs I sang, but I never only sing one. The only song I remember singing is Marvin Gaye's Let's Get It On. I was in Chicago. High Fidelity is one of my favorite movies. Yes, I've read the book too, but I've seen the movie probably 100 times, so it's easier for me to reference that, you judgmental snob. So I took a risk. And yes, I tried to sing it as close to Jack Black's version from the movie. Now, I don't know if you've ever tried to sing Let's Get It On at karaoke or anywhere for that matter, but it's not an easy song. I did already know that. My ex-girlfriend wasn't going to help me out with it, so I enlisted the girl. She didn't take much convincing. She took the stage next to me, wearing a Rolling Stones t-shirt and a maroon denim skirt that was a little longer than I liked. It's been 4 years and I can still picture it like it was yesterday. And we gave it our best shot. I think we were all drunk enough by this point to just have fun with it and not care how good it sounded. It probably sucked. Otherwise, I would remember killing that song in front of a bunch of girls. But that, unfortunately, is not the memory I have. So now's the part where I get closer to you. Singing that song is one of the 2 things I remember from that night. The other thing happened at some bar where everyone ended up dancing. I was dancing with my ex for a while, as a good guy should, and then I think she went to the bathroom or something, and then I started dancing with the girl. Like an asshole. My ex is a smart girl. I'm sure she saw it at the karaoke bar, maybe even earlier. Now we were all drunk, and I recall some grinding between the girl and me. Yes, that's what I wanted. She was what I wanted. It wasn't just because she was cute. Throughout the night, I got to know her a little. She was fun, she was funny. She didn't seem to care what anyone thought about her.
A feeling's just a feeling till you let it get the best of who you are.
A feeling's just a feeling till you let it get the best of who you are. And I was apparently too drunk to care what my ex thought or how she felt that night. Sober me wouldn't have been such an asshole to a girl I did still genuinely care about very much.
Am I wrong? Is this really what you want to happen? When all I want to do is have this, I'm not strong enough to breathe.
Am I wrong? Or is this really what you want to happen? When all I want to do is have this, I'm not strong enough to breathe. Jesus, this story's bumming me out. It's like my brain and my heart are parts of 2 different bodies. And I don't at all mean that in a romantic sense. I mean it in a physical, I still feel like I'm gonna die sense. My heart is still racing, but my brain is being a fucking downer. Oh, that's right. All weekend I've been loading uppers and downers into my system like coal into a fucking old-timey steam engine. Who needs a refill of scotch?
To breathe, I'm caught in every single word, and I know that you are something else. Yeah, I'll reach my point.
'Cause I'm caught in every single word, and I know you are something else. Yeah, I've reached my point. I know, a drunken night of bar hopping does not a Chicago fairy tale make. That was just the first night. Isn't that how Harry met Sally? I know, it's not.
You realize in your hometown, and you talk about this a lot in the book, is
Yeah.
your hometown kind of gave you nothing in the ways of like, you want to be something, you want to do something.
Yeah.
And as people like you and I know, for being worldly and for having to travel, you need to get out and you need to go do it. And the
Yeah.
fact that you ended up in New York City, the biggest city, to go live your dream and do what you do, I mean, like.
And that's another reason, like, I do what I do, and also want this book to get in front of people, because there's so many like themes of this book.
Yeah.
And one of them is I do write about my small town and getting out of it because I knew I needed to do these. I knew who I was, and I knew like skateboarding and finding punk rock, and as hard as it was to find that community in my small town, I knew that this existed out in the world.
Exactly.
So I needed to go find it, you know?
Yeah.
And nothing against my hometown, because I love being from a place like that, but I want this to get in front of those kids who are in small towns like that, who don't think it's possible to get out and like be somewhere.
Let me present Exhibit B. There used to be a great music festival in New York City called the College Music Journal Music Marathon. For a whole week in the fall, over 1,000 bands from all over the world come to the city and play in something like 70 different venues. As a music nerd, how could I miss such an event? As a music journalist, I definitely couldn't. One year, some friends of mine from Texas flew in to partake in the festivities. One of those friends was my best friend in college. He was completely up to date about the girl. I invited her out on one of the nights for a couple of reasons. 1, I knew I'd be able to show her the time of her life. 2, I wanted her to meet my friends, because in my head, they were going to be her friends too when we ended up living happily ever after. And 3, one of my favorite bands, the Front Bottoms, was playing, and I wanted her to love them as much as I did, thus realizing that she and I were meant to be together. Believe it or not, the night kind of did just go as planned. Kind of. First of all, she missed the band I wanted her to see, but that was okay. By this point, I was already drunk from going to shows all day with my friends and drinking free booze from whatever corporate sponsor provided it. Before the girl arrived, my 2 friends and I met 2 girls, cousins, one from Pennsylvania, the other from Jersey. Hey, 2 girls and 3 guys, I didn't care. Why would I when the girl was on her way? The 2 girls had been doing exactly what we had been doing, so they were good and buzzed too. When they found out we had Adderall on us, well, they weren't going anywhere. They thought we were cool, we thought they were cool, then the cuter of the 2 snatched a tablet of Adderall, crushed it up, and snorted it. Can't remember if she was the one from PA or Jersey, but I can guess. This was going to be a good night. The girl caught up with us, and we ended up at some event sponsored by a car company where the Cold War kids were playing. Big corporate sponsor usually means free booze, and this time was no different. We spent some time there, and the girl caught up with us real quick. Can you say meant to be? At this point, it's probably the early hours of the morning, and we made our way to the Lower East Side to catch P-Lander Z, a band I've always described as if the Ramones were also secretly the Power Rangers and Japanese. I've seen them at least 3 times, and they're always amazing. I don't know if she said it just for me, but the girl said she liked them too. I felt like this was the night we needed. It was finally happening. It's funny how your brain picks and chooses what to remember. I don't remember where the next bar was. I don't remember how we got there or how we went there. I do remember that the bar was dead and my Texas friends gave all the girls 2-step lessons. Oh yeah, and my best friend from college fucked that cuter girl in the dirty-ass bathroom downstairs. Mission accomplished. I wanted my friends to come visit and have a real New York adventure, and they did. They flew out the next morning. It's only now that I realize for my college buddy, maybe that night was his Megan. We never really talked about it, and we've since lost touch. I know both of those guys stayed in touch with both of those girls. I talked to the less cute one a few times after that night because we had the same birthday and talked about celebrating together, but it was just talk. Maybe my buddy romanticizes that night like I did with Megan. Maybe not. He really wasn't ever the hopeless romantic that I was/am. So here's the thing with my head. I'm unstable.
Like, I think in general with this book, like, what you don't even realize about this book is, like, you're really going inside yourself. Like, the whole theme of the book is, you're finding this girl, you're finding these women, you're like, kind of finding yourself in a way, but it's not really about them, and it's not about the outlying stuff that's going on. It's really like you're internalizing everything, and like the way you talk about your hometown, like you really love it and you really care about it, and the way you speak about it, it's like you almost wish sometimes you could go back, but also like you have New York City on the other hand, which you love and it's grand, but also you hate it in a way too. It's kind of like you have this, the grass is greener, but no, fuck the grass over there. And I feel it too when I think about my hometown. Like I loved LA, and then eventually after 7 years I was like, but I want to go back to the East Coast. I went back to the East Coast and I was like, fuck the East Coast.
Yeah.
You always have this longing, and I think that's what's so cool about the book is like, you're never really satisfied. And I think that's the feeling of life. That's the anxiety, the overall anxiety of life is that, are you ever really there? Can you ever really accomplish where you want to be at? Even with these women that you're getting involved with and the city that you're getting involved with, are you ever actually happy? But like, what is happiness? It's like, it's all about the journey, less, more so than it is about getting there. Because what's going to happen? The dog chasing the car and the car stops. Like, you're going to fucking...
Yeah, what are you going to do?
What are you going to do, man?
Yeah.
There was almost a decade age difference between me and that friend, so maybe we just grew up on different movies. Maybe when I listen to music, I listen to it differently. I'm not saying I'm better or he's worse. Hey, who's about to die alone in a hotel room from upping and downing through a lonely weekend of trying to play artist? It's funny how your brain picks and chooses what to remember.
Well, I plan to do my very best to let you know that you're in my head.
Well, I plan to do my very best to let you know that you're in my head. This memory hurts so much that I wish I could forget it. I wish I remembered how and why we got to the last bar, instead of remembering this stupid memory. But it's this memory that's Exhibit B that proves that I'm not delusional. At least, not in this situation. After the 2-step lessons, after my buddy banged that cuter cousin in the bathroom, the girl and I went outside. I feel like there was some cigarette smoking, but I could be wrong. This part, however, is unfortunately clear as fucking day. The girl told me what a good time she had. She told me that she always has a good time with me. She told me that she wanted to be with me, and didn't stop there. She said that she knew we were going to have a good life together, and she didn't stop there. She said that she wanted to be by my side to cheer me on as I write. She talked about this life we would have, filled with listening to music together and going to shows together. And you know how I know she meant it? She also said, and sometimes I won't go to a show with you, but that doesn't matter. In about 5 minutes, she planned our life out, and she made it sound realistic. It was all I ever wanted to hear her say, and she was saying it, in real life. My New York romance was happening. At that moment, all the other girls didn't matter. At that moment, it was like the girl was saying, congratulations, you made it. All that hard work and heartbreak was finally paying off. That moment, I thought, this is why I never gave up on love.
Is this really what you want to happen? But all I wanna do is have this. I'm not strong enough to stand. 'Cause I've been pushed around before, and I felt the burn from every inch of my heart. But it's worth it to never feel alone.
Am I wrong? Or is this really what you want to happen? Because all I want to do is have this. I'm not strong enough to stand. Because I've been pushed around before. I felt the burn from every inch of my heart, but it's worth it to never feel alone. The girl and I went back to her place that night. For the first time, my Texas friends had to find their way to my apartment on their own, but they didn't mind. They knew exactly what the girl meant to me. They knew what that moment meant to me. That night, they saw a New York movie happen in real life too. And to them, it was exactly like watching a movie. They got to see it end on the happy moment before the couple embarks on whatever happens next. For me and the girl, what happened next is also a memory I wish I didn't have. We had what was probably the worst sex of both of our lives. And I don't just mean me. I haven't held back yet. Why would I start now? I don't know if it was the booze, the Adderall, or the pressure of everything that led to that point, but neither of our parts were working the way they were supposed to be. That's the prettiest way to paint that picture. We tried. We both wanted it, and we worked it out a little, but we're the opposite of R. Kelly's bump and grind. Our minds were telling us yes, but our bodies were telling us fuck no. Fortunately, we were both drunk enough to just pass out without having to deal with the awkwardness then, and we were friends enough to laugh about it later, since it was mutual. Unfortunately, she decided that we weren't going to get involved before we ever got a chance to redeem ourselves.